Howdy, hi, and hello. Welcome to Noah's Nest, where I, myself, Noah, will take you through an informational or just a relaxing story, or relaxing how-to, or character creation, or whoever, or whatever. As you relax, lay down, get comfy, drink something, and just let me teach you how to play whatever. Today, I'm gonna teach you how to play Those Dark Places. This is created by Jonathan Hicks. It is a sci-fi ttrpg. We have played this many times around throughout this podcast, along with playing it outside of this podcast, and it is extremely fun. It is really interesting. If you are into space or anything else of that sort, I think you'll really like it. So with Those Dark Places, the dice that you'll need are only one single d6 for each person. Extremely easy. You don't need any d20s, d100s, d8s, d4s, just a straight out d6. I'll tell you how to make characters in a little bit. Let's tell you a little bit of what this game entails. So pretty much, it is a sci-fi based adventure. So you could be going off into space, you could be starting off in Earth, like it is destroyed to all hell, and you guys are the only ones left to save it. Really all depends on what your game master really wants to start or how they want to play the story. Only d6s. You'll get bonuses depending on what skills you have and what quote-unquote class you are, or crew position, but I'll get to that right now actually. So there are 3 different skills. So there's charisma, agility, strength, and education. In this game they kind of call it case. So charisma, agility, strength, and education. Case. Wow. Your charisma deals with like talking to people, dealing with bargaining, and anything all around with like maybe even performing or persuading. Agility is just like how fast you are, how well you can shoot with a gun, how well you're able to drive like a ship or maneuver, whatever. Your strength is your overall health, like your physical power, like and how many hit points you technically have. And then your education is just how smart you are. How well do you know about different sciences, maybe history, or what kind of university you really went to. So you'll get to choose. So each different attribute or skill has 4 circles next to it. I will put it up on our social media so you can understand what that means. Each one has 4 different circles. You have to put you have to fill in 1 bubble in one, 2 bubbles in another, 3 bubbles in another, and then 4th in the last one. That just pretty much tells you how well you are in each of them. So let's say you want to be really smart. Well, put 4 into science. But you kind of want to still be pretty healthy. Well, put 3 into strength. You're not very nimble, you're a scientist, you're not going to really run around. Well, then put agility into 1. And then charisma, you talked a little bit, you have made your way up in a couple of ranks. There you go, charisma's at 2. So yeah, depending on where you want, just circle how many bubbles you want to be good at. I will say, your strength also depends on your health. So if you happen to have a 1 in your strength, if you get hit once, you will go unconscious. If you ever go in the negatives of equal to your strength, you will be dead. So if you happen to have 1 in strength, you get hit twice, you're dead, sadly. With this game, You use a d6, but you are trying to get a 7. And you may be thinking, how can we roll a 7 if it's 6? Well, you get those pluses. So let's say your education is at 4. Well, you get to roll a d6 and add 4 to it. You may have a lower strength, but you're pretty smart at what you're doing. So roll that d6, get a 7 or more. If you get lower, then sadly it doesn't work as well as you want. Maybe your game master will be kind of lenient on, if you get a 6, okay, you can maybe succeed, but it's not gonna be perfect. Next, we're doing crew positions. I like how they did this because they don't try to overwhelm you on it, but it also kind of makes you become well-rounded, in my opinion. So in this game, you get to choose a primary role and a secondary role. In a normal game, there has to be 2 separate people that have a primary in helm, and the other person has to have a primary in navigating. That's only important if you're actually going into space, because you need someone to actually get behind the wheel and drive the spaceship, and you need someone to help you get from point A to point B with like navigating through space. Next is your scientific officer that helps you with biology, chemistry, any form of knowledge that you actually need in this game. Security officer is kind of like your brute strength, how strong you are. Maybe you can shoot very well. You're able to kind of take a bit more, but you're not that smart. Next is liaison officer. That's more the lines of diplomatic discussions. Maybe you're trying to persuade a bodyguard or a officer or like an astronaut to try and make your way through a certain portion of the ship, but it's locked off. Well, your liaison officer can easily try and help you, give you a good nudge in the right direction. Your engineer officer is there to try to fix maybe broken parts, maybe an engine is busted and you still need to get to your place, so your engineer is going to have to get in there and hopefully fix it before anything horrible works. And then lastly is the medical officer. That's the one that helps you like heal. This is really one of the most important roles in my opinion. It's if you get hurt, your medical officer is able to heal you. That's the only crew member that can actually heal you. There are guns in this game, so your agility is what you add to it. So it could be, if you have a 2 in agility, roll a d6, try and get a 7. It works. It's very, very simple. Damage is where it might come into play. Let's say you get hit. There are different damages for different weapons in this game, as I'll get to in a little bit further. But some weapons only deal 1 damage. But some guns might do more, like 2 or maybe even 3. If you ever reach 0, you go unconscious. And if it goes in the negatives, like past, if it goes equal to your strength modifier in the negatives, you are dead. This game is this game wants you to die. It really does. But that's where it comes into play. That's where it's really cool. So the different weapons that they have, you can make up your own. Your game master can make up some. But some of the weapons are, you can punch or kick. You only really do 1 damage. Cuddle or rod, it's more like some form of like bat, crowbar or something. You would roll a d6. If you meet the damage, you deal that damage. If you go above it, you just stay at the cap. So if it's a punch or a kick, you roll a d6, it'll only be 1 damage no matter what. If you use like a bat or crowbar or something like that, you can roll a d6. If you get a 1, you only deal 1 damage. If you get a 2, you do 2 damage, but if you get a 3 through 6, it's capped at 2. Pistol, damage cap is at 3. There is a rifle, damage cap is at 4. Shotgun, they have different ranges. They can do 2, 3, or 5 damage, but different ranges will have to come into play. There is a Dazer Mark III that is like a taser. It has a damage cap of 4, but if an enemy is down on the ground, it cannot do any lethal damage that is past any negatives. And explosives, it deals 4 damage in a 5-meter radius. So roll a d6. If you can get a 4, it's dealing 4 goddamn damage. There are other points of damage. There's like you can not have enough oxygen, you can have poison in your system, maybe radiation, drowning or whatever. You will take 1 point of damage per round. So if you don't have any oxygen, you will take 1 damage every round that you go. If you happen to fall, you would take 1 point of damage per 2 meters. If you fall from 1 to 2 meters, you're fine. But if you happen to fall more, you would start to take pretty significant damage. If you happen to get hurt, healing. This is where mainly the medical officer comes into play. There is another thing in this game called an auto doc, where you can just go in and it would try and heal you real quick. Your medical or auto doc can only heal 1 point of strength per hour. Usually these games don't take super long, but if you happen to be in a battle, escape, throughout time, you would be able to heal back to normal. The other part of this game is death. Everyone is able to die in this game. There's no way around it. You're in space. Human capabilities. You're a human. You're not a different type of... You're not a D&D character. You're not a Pathfinder character. You're a human. There's no way around it. It is easily possible to die. If you end up getting sucked out into space, you will slowly die. There is another way to sadly die in this game. It is called pressure, where you have a pressure bonus. It's where you would add your strength and education score. On the character sheet, there are bubbles that you can fill in, and that is your bonus to what you are trying to beat. You would roll a d6, you would add your pressure bonus, and you are trying to get or beat a 10. Because being in space and seeing weird or freaky shit will take a toll at some point. It'll start to get worse and worse and worse. As you keep getting more and more, you can slowly go insane. You could just flat out die, or you can become extremely violent to anyone that's around you. We don't usually do this in our games, but in the book, every time you get you fail a pressure check, you would roll a d6. And I'll tell you what each of them deal with. If you get a 1, you're in shock. You become very shakily. It's not very good. your agility is reduced by 1. And it stays like that until you fully calm down or until you escape. If you roll a 2, you are also in shock, but your body is fatigued. Your strength will be reduced by 1. If you get 3, you're once again in shock, but instead of just your body or you have uncontrollable shaking, your cognitive function, your brain reels from this, and your education and charisma go down by 1. If you get a 4, well, you're kind of rigid. You're not really able to communicate. You have fear in your eyes. You're stressing out too much. It's way too much for you. You're going to be unable to do really anything until you happen to pass or you get out of this whole entire scenario, and all your abilities will be reduced by 1. 5, you'll become catatonic. You will be curled up on the floor. You'll be unresponsive. You can't do anything. You have to roll another die, and you will be in this state for an amount of minutes depending on your roll. Once you recover from all of this, once again, all of your attributes will be reduced by 1. That's your charisma, your charisma, agility, strength, and education. And 6, you really don't want to get a 6. You go insane, and you're driven to a violent fight or flight. You will fight whoever you want. You will go away from the source as possible. You will just become completely scared, and you will want to fight your way out of it or run away as fast as possible. Once you're away from all of this, you will fall catatonic and suffer all of the results of 5 or above. After you take a long sleep, you will become, all of your pressure level will be reduced at max. So let's say you're at 6 and you're still up. You could take a long rest or a long sleep in the chamber, and you would go back to normal. Throughout this game, there are different scenarios in this book. You can get it at ttrpg, Amazon, you can really get this anywhere. There's eBay, there's thrift books, there's so much stuff that you can do. Let's see if we need to talk about anything else. Yeah, they do have some ideas. If you need some inspiration with this game, or you don't know what you want to do, you can watch some of these movies, read a couple books, or even play a video game, because in here they give you some ideas for some films that you can watch, like Alien, Blade Runner, Outlander, or you can even play Dead Space or Alien Isolation, or really anything. If your game master wants to make their own weapons or make their own story, it's really all up to you. Your imagination is your wall. Also within this book, there are different kinds of ships that you can create. There's a bunch of different scenarios that you can go through. It's really just what kind of game you want to play. Do you want to play a rescue mission? Do you want to play just a normal cargo ship? We're just trying to get from place to place. Do you want to be one of the last survivors in space and you're just trying to get home, or you're stuck in there? It's really your choice. It's really fun. It's really cool. It's really simple as well. There's one other thing before I end this. There is a thing called a SAM's unit, where you are technically a robot. You can choose to become a robot in this game. But the good side about it is you do not succumb to any pressure level. You don't have to roll for it. You don't need it at all because you're not there. But here's the bad side. You're not there. You are emotionally set to help the mission. Nothing else. Let's say one part of the ship exploded and you are on one side of the ship that has a vacuum that closes off from everything else. One of your allies at this time could be on the other side trying to get to the vacuum. You will succumb to what is going to help the mission the most, and you will most likely have to press that button to keep them out. That is the downside of having to be a SAM's unit, but it is fun. I've played it. You can check out some of our other episodes. I believe it's called a retry, Those Dark Places game. So yeah, that's really it to this game. Super easy, a d6, add in your charisma, your agility, your strength, or education abilities. You get to add your helm, or you get to add pluses depending on your crew position. So you can debate on, like, I'm really agile, but I'm also a navigator, so I need to know how to get from place to place. Well, you get to add your agility bonuses, and you get to add your navigation officer bonus. So maybe your agility is at 3, but you're mainly a navigation officer. Well, what's 3 plus 2? 5. You get to add 5 to your d6 roll. Try not to get a 1. It's not going to go well. But yeah, really cool, really fun. And that's it for Those Dark Places. If you want to check it out, if you want to get it yourself, I do have a hard book. It's really nice to have on hand if you ever want to try it. Amazon, ttrpg, Barnes & Nobles, it really is everywhere. It's really fun. I really do recommend it. But thank you all for listening. I hope you had a relaxing time. And yeah, check us out on everything. Go check out some of our older episodes with Those Dark Places or a couple other one-shots that we played. Like, share, comment, rate us 5 stars. It all helps us. It really does. Share to your friends, family, lovers, fighters, space enthusiasts. Word of mouth really gets us out there for everyone else to know what we are. Yeah, if you want us to check out any other tabletop role-playing games or talk about certain topics, talk to us. Send us in the comments. Send us on Instagram, Facebook. We do have a Reddit. So just let us know. And as usual, see you, love you, miss you. Goodbye.